In the quiet suburbs of Westbrook, a man named Henry was subtly invaded by unseen shadows. The home he shared with his wife Sarah, a sanctuary of love and joy, slowly transformed into silent torment. Sarah, his wife of 10 years, began orchestrating a scheme of control, each note composed of manipulation and isolation. It started with the most innocent of gestures. A casual remark here, a gentle suggestion there. Gradually, the boundaries of their relationship began to blur, and the threads of Sarah's influence began to tighten. She made subtle remarks about his friends, and suggested that they should spend more time alone together. As the days turned into weeks, Sarah's control deepened, casting an eerie shadow over Henry's friendships. The joyous laughter that once echoed through their home, their sanctuary, began to fade, replaced by an unsettling, strained silence. As the days passed, the tendrils of Sarah's influence tightened. Innocuous remarks about the idiosyncrasies of Henry's friends morphed into veiled criticisms. Sarah's words, though seemingly harmless, were carefully designed to cast long shadows of doubt over the sincerity of Henry's friendships. Each friend became a character in Sarah's orchestrated play, their motives questioned, their actions scrutinized. She painted them as opportunistic, ready to snatch away the success that Henry deserved. Each conversation was a subtle undermining of the bonds that held Henry's social world together. Sarah didn't just stop at casting doubt. She began monopolizing their time. Every moment spent beyond the confines of their home was met with suspicion. Every phone call, every outing, every harmless laugh shared with friends became a point of contention for her. Sarah's reassuring smile, her seemingly innocent questions, served to tighten her grip on Henry's world. The isolation extended beyond Henry's circle of friends. Family calls were intercepted by Sarah, visits became infrequent. Sarah, with feigned concern in her voice, insisted that the outside world was toxic. She painted herself as the only shield protecting Henry from harmful influences, the only beacon of truth in a world full of deceit. In the midst of this, Henry's perception of reality began to shift. His world shrank to the confines of their home. His once vibrant life was replaced by a monotonous existence, an existence that revolved only around Sarah. Sarah's tactics were subtle, her manipulation masterful. She had sown the seeds of doubt so deep within Henry's mind that he began second-guessing even his own thoughts and memories. The woman he had vowed to love was slowly reshaping his world, bending his reality to her will without him noticing. The isolation became Henry's new normal, his perception of reality subtly manipulated by the woman he had vowed to love. He was a man trapped in a web of deceit, his life governed by the seeds of doubt Sarah had masterfully planted. Sarah's tactics escalated. She began to control Henry's every waking moment. This is where the manipulation took a sinister turn. Sarah's influence over Henry began to distort his perception of the world around him. She started to control not just what Henry did, but also what he thought and how he felt. Every conversation, every interaction was subject to Sarah's interpretation. She would twist words, manipulate meanings, and bend facts to fit her narrative. Henry's reality was slowly being rewritten by Sarah's persistent and subtle distortions. Henry's relationship with his family didn't get abruptly cut off, but a gradual erosion, leaving Henry feeling lost and isolated, without even realizing how it happened. Sarah, however, painted herself as the caring wife in this scenario. She would feign concern for Henry, insisting that his family didn't truly care for him. She would weave tales of their supposed indifference, their lack of concern, painting herself as the only one who truly cared for Henry. She made herself out to be the protector, the savior, guarding Henry from a world she insisted was out to get him. She insisted that the isolation was for his own good, that she was only trying to shield him from the harsh realities of the world. Sarah was not just controlling Henry's life, but also his perception of her. She was the martyr, the saint, the only one who truly cared for Henry. But beneath this facade of care and concern lay a deep and insidious need for control. Sarah wasn't just controlling Henry's actions, she was controlling his thoughts, his perceptions, and his reality. And all this while, Sarah insisted that her actions were born out of love, that she only wanted to protect Henry from a hostile world. But what she was really doing was creating her own distorted reality, where she held all the control, and Henry was just a puppet in her hands. One day, a flicker of realization crossed Henry's eyes. It was like a bolt of lightning, illuminating the dark corners of his mind where doubt had been festering. The reflection he saw in the mirror was not his own, but a stranger's. a man worn thin by the weight of manipulation and isolation. It was a chilling moment of clarity that came with the cold sting of betrayal. Henry's world, once vibrant and filled with laughter, had been reduced to the confines of a prison, masterfully crafted by the woman he had vowed to love. The laughter, the joy, the friendships, all had been extinguished, replaced by a hollow, strained silence. But with this awakening came a surge of determination, a quiet rebellion simmering beneath the surface. He began to question, to challenge the narrative that Sarah had so carefully constructed. The outside world, painted as a hostile environment by Sarah, was not the enemy. It was Sarah herself, the puppet master pulling the strings of his life. Confronting Sarah was a daunting task. Her protests, once convincing, now rang hollow. The facade crumbled as Henry, fueled by the remnants of his shattered reality, asserted his agency. He refused to be a mere puppet, a casualty in Sarah's twisted game of control. The confrontation, however, was just the beginning. The process of healing was a journey fraught with uncertainty. The path to liberation was not easy, but Henry was ready to face the challenge. He reached out to old friends, seeking solace in their company. Their concern, their empathy, was a balm to his fractured soul. Yet the damage done was not easily repaired. Trust, once broken, was difficult to regain. The outside world, once a source of joy, now held an element of fear. The journey to regain control was a rocky path, littered with the remnants of his shattered relationships. But with each step, each small victory, Henry found a piece of himself that Sarah had tried to erase. And with that, he found the strength to carry on.